My lovelies, sometimes it doesn't matter if you are a hard-working person who has proven themselves to be reliable, hard-working, and very dependable. Because no matter what you do, certain people will just always hate you just because you exist. Hello, my lovelies. I am Madam Crystal Butterfly. And, my lovelies, something very serious that needs to be addressed is that racism is a very bad sickness that has spread throughout human society and has a very hard grip on humanity, leaving nothing but destruction and sadness in its wake. An example of how horribly brutal racism can be and how destructive it can be seen in the book I am reviewing today, Hush Money, by Jacquie Abram, Della Harris, and Deborah Harris. Now, before I get deeper into the serious topic that this book addresses, I would like to tell you a little bit more about the creative minds that crafted this book. Jacquie has been an author for 2 years, and she has written a total of 2 books. Hush Money and its sequel, Hush Money, The Cost of Being Black in Corporate America. Also, she has another book coming out this February called Hush Money, The Black Employee's Guide to Fighting Racism in the Workplace. Unfortunately, Jacquie was forced to endure racism in her workplace, leading her to suffer from racial trauma that became so severe that she considered homicide and suicide. This horrific experience played a role in her decision to enter into the world of the author. She wished to validate the experiences of others who were experiencing the same terror that she had gone through. When Jacquie and her daughters wrote Hush Money, they wanted to create a guide that would help anyone dealing with racism in the workplace, so that anyone else dealing with this problem would know that they have a way to fight back. Now, why exactly does Jacquie love books so much? Well, she loves the fact that books have the amazing ability to paint a picture inside of a person's mind. So, how does Hush Money shine a light on the issue of racism? All Ebony wanted was a chance to live the American dream. But for someone who was living in poverty, struggling financially, and finding it hard to make ends meet, the dream was more like a fantasy with no hope of becoming a reality. That is, until the day Ebony got a job with an organization after years of working dead-end jobs that put her one step closer to living the American dream. But her dream quickly turned into a nightmare when she became the victim of systemic racism in employment, was stripped of all dignity, confidence, and strength, and was left with 3 impossible choices: suffering in silence to keep her job, resigning to keep her sanity, or waiting to be unjustly fired. Or is there a 4th path? And does Ebony have the strength to follow it? Ebony is going through a bit of a rough patch. She and her husband have decided to break up. They're fighting over custody of their son, and things are not really going great for her. She's working dead-end job after dead-end job and not really getting a whole lot of real opportunities until she gets a chance to work as a secretary at the Byrne Institute, a college with many campuses. And for Ebony, it's a good paying gig with a lot of opportunity, and she sees it as her chance to finally get a leg up when she's been struggling for so long. Sadly, for Ebony, this is just the beginning of a very long nightmare. Things at the Byrne Career Institute started off really good for Ebony. She had a good boss and was learning a lot of skills that would help her in her career prospects. Long story short, her boss was pushed to leave. Why did this happen? I'm not going to tell you. Buy the book if you want to find out. Her good boss is replaced by a woman who is an absolute bitch named Miss Kelly. Miss Kelly goes out of her way to torment Ebony, calling her Agony instead of using her name and making sure at all times Ebony knew she did not like her, humiliating her in front of other staff. And as her job became more and more of a living hell, Ebony was counting the days till she was going to be fired because she couldn't shake the feeling Miss Kelly was just itching to do that. One day when Miss Kelly calls her into her office, Ebony breaks down, expecting to be fired, and tells Miss Kelly about how she does not know how she is going to be able to get custody of her son if she is fired. Miss Kelly seems shocked by this information and tells Ebony she has no intention of firing her. She was planning the whole time to transfer her to the student finance department. It's a job where Ebony would make less money, but she will still have a job. My lovelies, the same way there are levels to how good a person can be, there are levels to how big of an ass someone can be. When I read the part where this Kelly woman claims that she never intended to fire Ebony, I couldn't shake the feeling that she was lying. I believe this because the second Ebony mentioned that she had a son and she was scared of losing him, it was like a switch apparently turned on in Miss Kelly's head, and she knew that she would feel very guilty if she proceeded with firing Ebony, if it meant that she would lose custody of her son. So I suspect that this Kelly woman decided that she was not going to subject Ebony to being unemployed and wanted to pretend that she was doing Ebony a favor to make herself feel good. Either way, I would love to tell you, my lovelies, that after she was transferred to the new department, so she didn't have to deal with Miss Kelly every day, that things got better. But sadly, Ebony was about to start walking down another bed of hot coals. Ebony is subjected to what I felt like was even worse harassment in her new position. And I can't really get into what happened when she took on her new position because I've got to keep this review spoiler free. If you want to know what happened, read this book. It's really worth your time. It's an incredible piece of literature. Anyway, my lovelies, she does later get another position with a better boss. But sadly, not everything is sunshine and roses once she moves on to her new position. When Ebony starts working with a better boss named Dr. Romano, things seem to get better. One day she receives an email to fix a bunch of errors for an upcoming audit. Ebony works extra hard to correct all of the errors, only later to discover that she was not supposed to worry about the audit. This resulted in a problem for her boss, Dr. Romano, because she could have been fired because of the mistake. Thankfully, they are able to clear up the situation with the auditor. Not wishing for this problem to ever occur again, Ebony works very hard to create a new process so that next time the auditors come, there wouldn't be any problems, and she succeeds at this. After the auditors make their next annual visit, her department, for the first time in its history because of her process, receives no audits. So good news, everything is going fine and we don't need to worry about anything else, right? Wrong. Some time later, Dr. Romano is fired and replaced with a woman named Dr. Tyler. Dr. Tyler absolutely cannot stand Ebony. She terrorizes and is an absolute nightmare to her all the time because she does not like the fact that Ebony is an African American. She even tries a sneaky way to not only fire Ebony but replace her so that nobody criticizes her for removing Ebony from her position. She has one of Ebony's white male subordinates learn Ebony's process in hopes that he can deconstruct it, then repackage it as his process that works better than Ebony's. Now, my lovelies, for this situation, I would like to reference the old saying, cut off your nose to spite your face, because that is basically what Dr. Tyler was doing to herself. She was so determined to terrorize and chase Ebony out of the department when it was clear it was far more beneficial for her to keep Ebony. Now, there is a lot more I would like to say about Dr. Tyler and the foolishness she was doing just to be racially insensitive, but I have to keep this video spoiler free. So I suggest you grab a copy of this book. Something truly incredible about this book isn't just because it highlights how bad the issue of racism can be, but in its own way, it creates a roadmap so that other people being subjected to racial taunts and harassment in their workplace have a roadmap to be able to combat it instead of suffering in silence. Extreme racism in the workplace and those responsible for handling the problem doing nothing about it is nothing new. When Ebony experienced wave after wave of racism at her job, she started collecting evidence of events, along with looking who within and outside her workplace to contact if she needed to take more extreme action to handle the situation. I really love that the author created this book. Often when racist events happen, there is nothing a person being victimized by it can really do about it outside of quitting their job, which is not always the best move because people have to pay their bills, but picking between paying your bills and being driven to the point of insanity is not fair. The way the book outlines how Ebony fought back, in addition to providing other people with a way to fight back, also lets people experiencing this problem know that they are not alone. When dealing with the issue of racism, a person can be made to feel completely alone as their world is crashing down around them. This story feels in its own way like a comforting voice saying, I know how you feel. I have gone through this nightmare myself and I can help. All right, my lovelies, it is time to rate this story. So when it comes to Hush Money, I am giving it the rating of 5 butterflies out of 5. This story, my lovelies, I feel is truly amazing. The authors did a beautiful job writing it. It really just draws you into the struggle Ebony went through, in addition to providing useful information for anybody else experiencing these types of horrific actions by racist employers or co-workers. It provides a way to let people know, hey, I can fight back. I don't have to just sit here and take this. And I'll tell you right now, my lovelies, if you do not get this book, you are denying yourself a very good read and very useful resource. So I'm telling you, my lovelies, right now, you definitely need to go out and get this book and read it. You will be very, very happy you did. All right, my lovelies. If you made it to this point of the video, thank you so much. And please give it a like, leave me a comment. And if you have not yet, slap that subscribe button like it owes your money. And don't forget to give that little notification bell a ring. And before I go, my lovelies, I would like to say, YouTube seems to want to unsubscribe people from channels. I don't know why it's doing that. At first, I didn't even think it was doing that till my friends called me and told me they had been unsubscribed from my channel more than once. But YouTube has been removing people from channels. I don't know why, but please, if you subscribe to me, double check and make sure you're still subscribed to me. And thank you so much. I plan to bring you more book reviews in the upcoming weeks. And with that, my lovelies, this video is a wrap. Now, if you please, come with me as we dance into a world of magic.